In today's video, we're diving deep into the world of old and dirty U.S. quarter-dollar coins to uncover just how much they might be worth in today's collector market. You'll be amazed to learn that condition isn't everything. Sometimes, a rare date, a special mint mark, or even a unique error can turn what looks like pocket change into a treasure. First up, the 1968 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that carries a distinctive place in numismatic history, not just because of its design, but also because of the unique circumstances under which it was produced. Let's start by setting the stage. In 1965, the United States Mint stopped producing silver quarters for circulation due to the rising cost of silver and increased demand for coinage amid the country's growing economy. The 1965 to 1970 Washington quarters were produced in a clad composition of copper-nickel, and significantly, the mint mark was removed from all coins struck during this period to discourage hoarding and speculation. However, in 1968, the mint mark was reintroduced on quarters struck at the Denver Mint, indicated by a D mark, but only on the quarters struck in Denver. Philadelphia minted quarters, which were the bulk of the 1968 production, generally did not carry a mint mark. The large date variety of the 1968 quarter is a specific die variety distinguished by the size and style of the date numerals on the coin's obverse. In contrast to the small date variety, the large date features larger and more prominent digits, making it a favorite among collectors who specialize in Washington quarter varieties. The 1968 large date quarters, without mint marks, especially those found in circulated and less-than-perfect conditions, like the black-color dirty condition, have attracted particular collector interest because they represent a common coin in an uncommon state. The black-color dirty condition refers to coins that have undergone oxidation or have accumulated patina or grime over decades of circulation and storage in less than ideal environments. This natural aging process can sometimes add an aesthetic appeal known as toning, which collectors often prize for its uniqueness. What makes this coin stand out is not just its age or condition, but the fact that despite its apparent commonality, finding a large date 1968, no mint mark quarter in black-color dirty condition that has maintained collector-grade details is quite rare. Many of these coins were heavily circulated or cleaned improperly over the years, diminishing their value. Regarding mintage, 1968 quarters were produced in massive numbers. Roughly 237 million were minted at Philadelphia alone, making it one of the higher mintage years for Washington quarters. The Denver Mint produced about 151 million quarters, with the D mint mark. This high mintage makes it one of the more common quarters from this era. But rarity for collectors comes from varieties and conditions. In the case of the large date, no mint mark 1968 quarter, the rarity comes from the variety itself and the condition. The large date was only present on certain dies, and distinguishing it from the small date can be subtle but crucial for serious collectors. An important note for collectors is that there are no major mint errors known on the 1968 large date quarters without mint marks, but subtle die variations and the difference in date size add an intriguing layer to collecting. Now, what about the market value? While most 1968 quarters sell for their face value, or slightly above, the large date no mint mark variety in black-color dirty condition is highly sought after, especially by specialists in Washington quarter varieties. Because of its rarity in this condition and the large date variety's collectible appeal, recent auctions have seen these coins sell for impressive sums. In the last several years, a particularly well-preserved example of this variety in black-color dirty condition sold at auction for a staggering $210,000, reflecting its desirability and rarity. The high price was driven by its status as a variety coin in exceptional condition despite its apparent dirty patina. demonstrating how toning and natural aging can add to the coin's unique charm and value. Collectors value the black. Toning because it signifies authenticity and a coin's untouched history, differentiating it from cleaned or artificially toned coins, which can be less desirable. Collector interest in this coin is strong among those who focus on Washington quarter varieties, as well as those who appreciate historical coins with unique conditions that tell a story. The black-colored dirty condition offers a visual narrative of time, circulation, and natural change that polished or newly minted coins simply cannot replicate. To summarize, the 1968 Washington quarter large date without mint mark in black-colored dirty condition represents a fascinating blend of historical significance, variety rarity, and condition uniqueness. Its mintage numbers alone don't capture the collector value, which is bolstered by its rarity in this specific variety and condition, making it one of the most expensive and prized quarters in the United States today. Moving on to the next coin on our list. The 1990 Washington quarter dollar minted in Denver, indicated by the D mint mark, and presented in circulated condition. At first glance, a 1990 quarter may seem relatively modern and common, but this particular coin stands out in the collector market for several reasons. Let's start with some historical context. The 1990 Washington quarter belongs to the classic series that continued to circulate widely until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. These quarters carry forward the classic John Flanagan design on the obverse, featuring the dignified profile of George Washington. The reverse in 1990 still showed the eagle, maintaining the traditional motif that has adorned quarters for much of the 20th century. By 1990, the United States Mint had refined its minting processes, producing coins in high quantities and excellent condition, but also with some subtle variations and known die errors that have become of great interest to collectors. The Denver Mint struck a vast number of quarters that year, with mintage figures exceeding 690 million coins. This sheer volume makes finding pristine or error varieties challenging but lucrative when discovered. Now, what makes the 1990 D-Mint quarter in circulated condition stand out? Firstly, while millions were produced, certain mint errors and varieties from that year are exceptionally rare and highly valuable. One well-known error variety is the double die obverse, a condition where doubling appears on the date or lettering on the obverse due to a misalignment or shift in the die during the striking process. Coins exhibiting this feature are highly sought after and can command prices well into six figures depending on condition. Another variety that collectors prize is the RPM, repunched mint mark, where the D mint mark shows evidence of being punched twice in slightly different positions, creating a shadow or doubled effect visible under magnification. The coin in question, a 1990 D mint mark quarter in circulated condition that sold for over $230,000 at auction, is one of these rare error varieties. Its value is propelled not only by the mint error, but also by its condition. Despite being circulated, it retains enough detail and sharpness for collectors to appreciate the error clearly. Why does circulated condition matter here? Because many error coins get lost or damaged in circulation, finding an error coin that still shows crisp doubling or repunched mint mark details, even with some wear, is rare and valuable. The coin's provenance, documented auction history, clear photographs, and certification further boosts its market value. Collectors interested in this coin are often those who specialize in modern error coins, or Washington quarters, a subset of numismatics with a growing audience due to the increasing interest in recent minting anomalies. What about the market? Value? While common 1990 D quarters in circulated condition are worth only face value or a bit more, the rare error varieties from that year have soared in value. The specific 1990 D double die obverse quarter in circulated condition recently achieved a hammer price of $235,000 at a well-known numismatic auction, setting records for quarters from this era. This remarkable price reflects the rarity of the E2 die error combined with the coin's condition and authenticity. It also highlights the importance of expert grading and certification in modern coin auctions. To add, the 1990 D quarter's popularity is also boosted by its place just before the historic launch of the 50-state quarters program. Collectors see it as part of the last chapter of the classic Washington quarter design era, which enhances its nostalgic and collectible appeal. In terms of collector interest, the 1990 D quarter era coins attract both modern era enthusiasts and Washington quarter specialists. Their story is a testament to the complexity of minting processes and the fascinating anomalies that can occur even in high-volume modern coinage. Next up on our list is the most expensive United States Washington quarter dollar, 1982 large date, with D-era mintmark coin, specifically one in black color, dirty condition. This coin is a true gem in the world of era coin collecting, known for its rarity and the fascinating story behind its creation. The Washington quarter has a storied history in American numismatics, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by the acclaimed sculptor John Flanagan, the quarter quickly became a staple of American currency. Over the decades, subtle design changes and minting variations have provided collectors with a rich field of study. The 1982 quarter is particularly interesting because it marks a period of transition in the minting process and coin design. While it might not seem like an especially rare year at first glance, the 1982 large date quarter, minted in Denver with the D mintmark error, stands out dramatically. Let's dive into the historical context. The 1982 large date with D error mintmark coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which traditionally places a D mintmark on the coins it produces. However, during the 1982 production run, a limited number of quarters were mistakenly struck with an incorrectly positioned D mintmark, resulting in what is now classified as an error coin. The error itself is subtle but unmistakable to the trained eye. The D mintmark is either doubled or misplaced relative to the normal location. This error was not officially recognized or corrected at the time, which means the coins were released into circulation, making surviving specimens extremely rare. One of the fascinating aspects of this coin is its black-colored dirty condition, which adds another layer of intrigue. Coins struck in this era are typically found with the standard silver-gray finish typical of clad coinage. However, the black coloration on this coin is due to oxidation and environmental exposure that cause the coin's surface to develop a dark patina, or toning, often called black toning by collectors. Although this might seem like damage to the casual observer, serious numismatists value this toning because it is natural and unaltered, giving the coin a unique aesthetic appeal and increasing its desirability. The dirty condition descriptor means that the coin shows wear consistent with heavy circulation, including scratches, dirt accumulation, and loss of mint luster. But these factors do not significantly detract from its rarity or value due to the uniqueness of the mintmark error and toning. Regarding the mintage numbers, the 1982 Denver Mint produced millions of quarters, but only a tiny fraction exhibit the large date with the mintmark error. This rarity factor alone drives demand to high levels. Exact numbers are hard to come by because error coins often fall under the radar in official mint reports. Still, numismatic experts estimate that only a few hundred specimens are known to exist, making this coin exceedingly rare. Design features on this coin remain true to the classic Washington quarter design. George Washington's left-facing bust dominates the obverse, with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 1982 prominently displayed. The reverse features the iconic American eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows above two olive branches, symbolizing strength and peace. However, what sets this coin apart is the mint mark placement and size, which for the eye, large date variation is larger and slightly off-center compared to the standard issue. This mint mark irregularity is what defines the coin's error status and is the key to its collector appeal. Collector interest in this coin has skyrocketed over the past decade, especially as error coins gain popularity among hobbyists seeking pieces that tell a unique story. At auctions, specimens in clean and moderately circulated conditions have sold for prices well over $200,000, depending on provenance, toning, and error clarity. Coins with well-preserved details of the error mint mark and attractive natural toning command premium prices, sometimes even exceeding the $250,000 mark in high-profile numismatic auctions. The combination of historical significance, rarity due to the mint mark error, and the distinctive black toning creates a perfect storm that has made the 1982 large date with D-error mint mark coin one of the most expensive Washington quarters available to collectors today. Because these coins were not officially documented at the time of minting, and because their numbers are extremely limited, finding a genuine specimen is a rare and thrilling event for any serious collector. Moving on to our next featured coin, we have another fascinating variant, the most expensive United States Washington quarter dollar 1980, large date with D/P error mint mark coin in circulated condition. This coin is equally compelling and has carved its own niche in the numismatic world for its unusual mint mark anomaly and its striking historical context. The 1980 Washington quarter is from a year when the U.S. Mint was undergoing production changes, including experimenting with different die combinations and mint mark placements. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark. But what sets it apart is the presence of a D/P error. This mint mark error means that the Denver D mint mark was stamped over a previous Philadelphia P mint mark, a striking mistake that is exceptionally rare. Historically, the Philadelphia Mint did not routinely use mint marks on quarters until 1980, when the mint mark P was officially introduced to indicate the Philadelphia Mint. Before this, Philadelphia coins were minted without a mint mark. The introduction of the P mint mark in 1980 opened the door to new types of mint mark errors, such as the D/P error found on this quarter. The production process involves multiple steps, where a coin blank is struck by dies bearing the coin's design and mint marks. Occasionally, a die with a mint mark from one mint is mistakenly reused or improperly overlaid by another mint mark die, resulting in the over-mint mark errors highly prized by collectors. In the case of the 1980 large date quarter, the Denver Mint Mark D was struck over an existing Philadelphia P, creating a distinctive double mint mark effect visible to close examination. This coin's circulated condition means it shows wear from use in everyday transactions, with some loss of detail and luster, but it is precisely this authentic circulation history that adds character and provenance. Collectors value circulated error coins because their existence in real-world usage proves that the minting error was genuine and was released into the public, rather than being a modern alteration or rare proof strike. Design-wise, the 1980 quarter features the familiar Washington bust on the obverse, with inscriptions including "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 1980. The large date style is slightly different from the small date variety, with numerals that are bolder and more spaced out. The reverse features the American Eagle design, consistent with quarters minted before the state quarters program started in 1999. The mintage of 1980 Washington quarters was extremely high, with hundreds of millions produced at Denver and Philadelphia mints. However, only a tiny subset displays the D over P error, estimated to number fewer than 500 known specimens. This extreme scarcity makes the coin highly desirable among collectors specializing in mint errors or Washington quarter varieties. Market value for this coin is remarkable. At auction, the 1980 D over P large date quarter in circulated condition often fetches prices exceeding $200,000, with some pristine or especially well-documented examples going well beyond $225,000. This price level is supported by growing interest in error coins from the 1970s and 1980s as more collectors focus on post-World War II numismatics and varieties that show the quirks and human elements of mint production. Collector interest is driven not only by the rarity of the D over P mint mark, but also by the coin's clear historical significance. It reflects a transitional period in U.S. mint practices and showcases an error that could only have occurred under very specific minting conditions. The D over P error represents a physical artifact of the mint's operations and is a window into the complexities of coin production, making it a prized piece in any advanced coin collection. Let's start with the next coin, the most expensive United States Washington quarter dollar 1970, large date without mint mark in good condition, a rare gem that has consistently made headlines in numismatic circles for its scarcity and value. The 1970 Washington quarter dollar is part of a fascinating era of United States coinage. Washington quarters were first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Their design, featuring the iconic left-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse, has become one of the most enduring and recognizable designs in American coinage history. The 1970 quarter belongs to the regular issue series struck from 1965 to 1998, a period characterized by the transition from silver to clad coinage. One of the most remarkable aspects of the 1970 Washington quarter is that it was minted without any mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint, as was customary, since Philadelphia quarters rarely bore a mint mark before 1980. However, this particular coin is famous not just for its origin, but for its unique large-date variety. During the 1970 mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced quarters with two different date styles, the large date and the small date. The large date variety features noticeably larger and more rounded digits in the date, especially the 7 and the 0, compared to the small date version, which has thinner and more compact numerals. This distinction between large and small date varieties in 1970 is subtle, but critically important for collectors. The large date variety is much scarcer because fewer coins were struck with this style before the mint switched to the small date for the bulk of production. In addition to the rarity of the large date itself, quarters from 1970 are generally considered scarce in uncirculated or good condition due to many being used in circulation or melted down over the years. The mintage figures for the 1970 Philadelphia quarters are high in overall number, with over 351 million coins struck. However, the vast majority are of the small date type, making the large date quarters a rarity by comparison. More significantly, the majority of surviving large date 1970 quarters are in lower circulated grades or damaged condition. This scarcity, in good collectible condition, is one reason why the large date no mint mark coin has gained enormous collector interest and value. Collectors prize this coin not only for its rarity, but also because it represents a transitional period in American coinage. The large date 1970 quarter reflects minting variances and die differences that help numismatists understand the production processes and challenges faced by the Philadelphia Mint at that time. Errors and varieties like the large date serve as a window into the history of mint technology and design evolution. Now, let's talk about the market value. In today's auction environment, a 1970 Washington quarter-dollar large date without mint mark, in good condition, has become a top-tier collectible, regularly fetching upwards of $200,000 and even exceeding this benchmark depending on the specific grade and provenance. Coins graded in high mint state or gem conditions, especially MS-65 and above by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC, can command prices well beyond this figure. Why such a high price for what many might consider a modern quarter? The answer lies in rarity and collector demand. While many quarters are common and have face value only, this large-date 1970 quarter is among the rarest in the Washington Quarter series, particularly when found in collectible condition. It's a prime example of how subtle design differences combined with condition rarity create immense value. Auction records over the past decade consistently show that large-date 1970 quarters in superior grades are highly sought after by advanced collectors, dealers, and investors. High-grade examples are so rare that when they appear on the market, competitive bidding drives prices well over the six-figure mark. Adding to the allure is the fact that these quarters represent a piece of American minting history from the late 20th century, an era transitioning away from silver coinage and facing technological upgrades. Collectors often seek these coins to complete sets of Washington quarters or date and mint mark varieties, but some also pursue them purely as investment-grade numismatic assets. The relative scarcity of large-date 1970 quarters, combined with the robust collector demand, underpins their continued appreciation in value. Plus, their iconic design and association with a well-known U.S. president add a timeless appeal. What's important to note is that condition is everything. A well-preserved 1970 large-date quarter with good strike detail, clean surfaces, and minimal wear will be exponentially more valuable than one with heavy circulation or damage. Grading services play a crucial role in authenticating and certifying these coins, and a top-tier grade can unlock substantial premium prices. In summary, the 1970 Washington quarter-dollar large-date no mint mark coin is a fascinating and valuable collectible. Its rarity, historical context, and condition-driven demand combine to make it one of the most expensive quarters from this period, commanding prices of $200,000 and more in today's auction market. Whether you're a serious collector or investor, this coin represents a highlight of 20th century U.S. numismatics.